Hi, I'm Angie Grecian-Bransky, and I'm a category manager here at West Music. I also used to be a general classroom teacher for K-12 and vocal music. My new favorite biography book is titled Nina, jazz legend and civil rights activist Nina Simone. This book is told through the voice of Ms. Simone as a mother telling her child a bedtime story. It's the story of her life and how she came to realize that social injustices were occurring while she was growing up and becoming a talented pianist. She uses the analogy of how the black keys on the piano were like black people when she was growing up. While white keys had names, the black keys took on the names of the white keys around them and didn't have their own identity. She also talks about how change happened when Dr. Martin Luther King spoke. She actually met him during the Freedom Riders movement. The book's illustrations are unique because everything is in black and white. Yet as you can see, it's not lacking in details or beauty. When I was teaching, I used Nina Simone as an example of protest music. There are some videos of her singing The Times Are A-Changin', as well as a great one of her performing live in Bordeaux, France in 1988. She sings to be young, gifted, and black. It really shows her amazing talent as a pianist and would be a great conversation starting point with upper elementary students about why she is singing this song. I encourage you to check out this book and use it as a resource in your classroom.
Hi, everybody. This is Aaron from West Music. I am what they would call a content marketing specialist for elementary education here at West. Before that, I was a general music teacher for 29 years in a couple different school districts with a little background here in music education. And I was asked to share one of my favorite books to share. And I have to be honest with you, this is a newer book that I had not had a lot of experience with before I left teaching, but it is a wonderful book that I hope you get to use in your classrooms. And the book is called Listen. And Listen is a story about Evelyn Glennie. She's a Scottish solo percussion artist. The book is written by Shannon Stalker. It's got wonderful illustrations, by the way. So Evelyn's story, which I found very interesting, Evelyn started out as a young girl and she loved music and she wanted to be involved somehow in music, whether as a musician or whatever. And she learned the piano. She started on the clarinet and other instruments. And sadly, what happened was she found out as she started to grow that she was going to lose her hearing. She got hearing aids and such. And so she thought her music career part was done. Well, her dad just wasn't going to give up on her and said, no, there's a way to make music, which is why we get the title of Listen. Because what the book teaches is there are different ways. We think just listening is with our ears. And she discovered there are other ways to listen. And so she went to a special school, a music school, and started to learn percussion. And one of her teachers started to teach her how she could play, for instance, a drum and feel the vibration. That's another way of listening. And soon enough, she started to be able to still play music and she became a percussionist. Later on in life, she became an actual professional solo percussionist and she started going out and touring and doing her own concerts and all of this, even though that she had very diminished hearing ability. So one of the things I love about this book to teach our kids is we can teach them that there's more than one way to listen and you can make music. You don't have to let that set you back and you're done. There are other ways to make music and learn, and that's what she did. And so it was a very encouraging story. She has a website and she actually went out and toured and did concerts, and she has links. Teachers, I'm talking to you now. There are links on her website. There are interviews. There are some videos of performances. There are ways to use this in your classroom. Another thing I noticed in the book is there are some really rhythmic text syllables and words in here, so maybe you could use that with your kids. I think this would be a way to teach with your kids, have them experiment with percussion instruments and how you can actually listen with the vibrations of the drum or the vibrations of this instrument and not just with your ears, because that's how she did it, which I think is amazing. And, we all have those students in our rooms that they think they're setbacks, but they don't have to be setbacks. They can be something that gives you strength in another way, which is, I think, what this book really says. So I'm loving this book. I'm glad I'm getting to know this book even more. So I hope you get to check it out. Give it a look, because it's wonderful that it's a true story. And that tells the kids a lot. And to look where this woman is at now from her childhood. So enjoy, listen.
My name is Melissa Bloom, and I am the Executive Vice President of Operations at West Music and a member of the World Music Drumming faculty. And part of all of what I get to do is to spend time with elementary music teachers and so many of our products and tell you about why so many of them are so great. Today, it's this book, which is called When Paul Met Artie, the subtitle being The Story of Simon and Garfunkel. It is by G. Neri with illustrations by David Litchfield. And this book is awesome for so many different reasons. First of all, if you're going to use this book, you should think of it as a book that you are going to spread out over a long period of time with your upper elementary students. Because essentially, every different spread in the book is a story into itself. And it's something where I would recommend you would read that part of the story and then talk with your students, share some music, and then maybe a week or so later, take another page as another chapter. So essentially, this is the story of the beginning times for Simon and Garfunkel. It starts later on in their time frame, right before the concert at Central Park. And as you can see, each of the pages is a lot of information. Think of them as each different chapter as a separate story you would share. Then it goes back to 30 years earlier, so in the 1950s, telling the story of how these two friends found each other in junior high. It moves through all of their time in high school, then as they are young adults, and then ends at the very end on the cusp of when they were becoming huge world stars. There are so many things I love about this. The first thing I love about this whole book is that they did not find fame or stardom or success right away. And in fact, not only did it take them a long time, but they found success, lost all of that, lost everything they had, found each other again, started over, made some more music, still didn't find that success, and eventually got to where they were. And so it tells so much about what really happens in life, in that things rarely just jump into your lap, that it takes hard work, it takes perseverance, it takes really believing in yourself and what you need to do and how you can make things happen. But at the same time, it talks about what was happening in the world during the time that Simon and Garfunkel were growing up. It talks about their neighborhood in New York. It talks about things that were happening in the political world, the civil rights movement, all kinds of things for helping people and the folk music that was all coming together at the time. So there's a huge amount of history. For those people such as myself who are major Simon and Garfunkel fans, every one of these little chapters has a title, which is a song title that was recorded by Simon and Garfunkel. So though this is not about their song, My Little Town, that's one of their songs. As we move on here, The Only Living Boy in New York, that's one of their song titles, and so on. So every single one of these little chapters has the name of one of their song titles. My idea would be you would read that chapter, you'd talk about some of the lessons that were learned, and then you would play that song so kids really can tie it together and understand. There's concepts in here about music, there's concepts about different genres. There's so much world learning and life learning that takes place. And all of it is around real people who are still alive right now, because I think a lot of times kids think, oh, musicians and songwriters, they may not still be with us now. There are so many different things in this book that I think you will love. So again, it is called When Paul Met Artie, Story of Simon and Garfunkel. It is West Music item number 867684. You need it in your classroom.